Hi guys, welcome to another Winglet Entertainment tutorial. Today we're going to be making this stylized tree you see over here. First we're going to open up Photoshop and we're going to begin to create the texture for the tree, the leaves. This part over here. So first we're going to open up Photoshop and we're going to click File, New, and we're going to make a 1024 by 1024 image, and then click Create. You can use any other software you like, but I'm just going to use Photoshop because that's what I have. So we're going to start with a blank layer, so you don't want anything on it, and we're just going to work directly on this one layer. So I'll be using a drawing tablet, whoops, but you can use just a mouse if you want, but it's much easier to use the tablet. So first we're going to get our paintbrush, and then we're going to select the color we want, which is green. And we'll go for a nice dark green because pine trees are pretty dark. Something like that should be fine, we can always change it later. And then we just want to select the hard round pressure size brush, and that will let us change the size of the brush with the pressure, which is helpful. So first we're going to draw a stem sort of thing, just from top to bottom. This part doesn't really matter. Having it a bit wonky is good because it makes it look more natural. And then we're just going to start making these branch sort of things, so like just little branches coming out of the tree. We don't want to leave too much white space because that will make the tree look less full, so I'm just going to add as many branches as I can. But you do want to leave some, otherwise it will look unnatural. And you can go with a thicker brush or a thinner brush depending on how realistic or stylized you want it to be. I'm going with quite a round brush. That will just make sure it looks pretty unrealistic or stylized. So something like that should do. Now we're going to add some brown for the branch on top of it, so we'll just change our brush to a brown color and then just paint on top. So now we're just going to go back to the green and paint some over the brown so it looks like some leaves are going over the branch. So I'll just click Alt and then click to select that color. And now we're going to add some lighter green spots to sort of simulate some like reflections or light or hit something hitting the tree. So to this we're going to add a new layer. So we'll go up to the layer thing, click new and then layer, and then we're just going to tick this box over here, use previous layer to create clipping mask. And now we can paint in a slightly lighter green. Just some spots here and there. And it won't let you color off, so that's good. Something like that should do. So now we're just going to save this wherever you want. I'll just click save as, and then we'll call it pine leaves. And I'm just going to save it to my desktop. And we're going to save it as a PNG so that we can use it in games. And now we're going to go to Blender and open it. So here we have the tree that we're trying to make. So we're just going to go open a new file. I'm going to go File, New. And so we're going to start off with a block. We can just go ahead and delete the camera and the light by selecting them. And then clicking X to delete them. Now we're just left with this cube, and that is going to be the base of our tree, or the trunk of our tree. So we're just going to go into edit mode by pressing tab, and I'm just pressing 1 to go into the orthographic mode. So now we can move this cube up a bit by pressing G and then Z, and that's just going to slide it up. And then we're going to zoom out of it with the scroll wheel, deselected pressing A, and then just click C to circle select and select this, and then press G and Z to bring it up. And now we're just going to hit S to scale it down, and deselect it pressing A, and then select press C and scale this down a bit. Right about there should do. So now we have a square branch. You can use a cylinder if you want it to be more round, but if you're going to use this in a game, it doesn't really need to be round. If you just hit smooth shading, press space, press smooth, type smooth, and then click shade smooth. If we go here, we can see it looks pretty good. You won't really notice it from any distance. And we can just delete this bottom face because we don't need that by pressing X and then faces. So now we've got that, and this will be our tree trunk. Now we need our leaves, so we'll press Shift A and then go to Shift A, image, and then images as planes, and just go find your image. So mine is on desktop, pine leaves, import images as planes, and now we should have a little plane over there. We'll just press G to move that to the side, and now we're gonna want to be into the look div mode so we can see it. And we're just gonna hit 7 to look at it from above. And now we're just gonna edit this. So we'll press tab to go into edit mode, and we'll just press G and then move it so that the base is on the origin point or a little bit out of it, just like that. And then we're going to want to change the UVs of this so that it looks a bit better. So we're going to go here, click in this bottom corner, drag it up, and now we're just going to go to UV editor, and we want this to be Actually, hold on, we'll first edit this part. So we're going to click Control R, add 2 loop cuts, like that, and then Control R and one down the middle, and then we're going to press 1 to go, and we're going to look at it from the top, and then select these 2 sides. I'm just pressing C for circle select, selecting both these sides, pressing 1 again, and now GZ to pull this down, like that. So now when we look at our branch from the side, we can see it, which is very helpful for games where you don't want you seeing the wrong face or whatever, or having it flat so that you can't see it from the side. And then we're also going to add a bit of a curve, so we're going to press 3 and that's going to take us to the side view. Just press C to select it, and we're just going to pull this up. We might go into wireframe. Just adding a bit of a curve. And I'm just pressing R to rotate this here. And to deselect, just double tap A. And now we're just going to rotate the whole thing down, so I'm going back into object mode, and then just going to rotate it down, and that's probably the angle we want our leaves to be at. And we can just shade this smooth as well, so just press space, shade smooth. Should be already there if you typed it before. And now we have our leaves, but we don't need this entire square, it looks bad, so what we'll do is we'll just trim that, just so when we're working with it, it's a bit easier to see where the leaves are. We're just going to press K and then just knife. Don't cut through any of the leaves, and just press enter and then K again. And there you have it. And we'll just select these with C and then press X to delete them because we don't need them anymore. And now we should have our leaves. So now that that's all done, we need to put them on the tree. So we have our leaves here. So we'll just click 1. And as you can see, it's a bit small, so we'll just press S to scale it up. And then we're just going to press RZ90. And then, so we can see it from the side. And now we can press Alt G, and that is going to put it in the middle. And GZ to just bring it up a bit. So if we look at the leaves that are in the tree bit, so we'll press Tab to go into edit mode, and then we're just going to press A to select it all, and then G, and then X, so that it moves out of it, and we're just going to have it attaching like that. That should be good. And leave the origin point in the middle of the tree, and you'll see why later. These are still looking a bit small for the base leaves, so we'll scale it up by pressing S, and then just GZ to move it up a bit. Something like that should be good. Now what we're going to do is distribute the leaves all over the tree. So we're first going to go press 7, and then just Shift D, and then R to rotate. Shift D duplicates the leaves, so we'll just press Shift D to duplicate and add another one, and then Shift D again. And we're going to put them in this triangular pattern, and then we're going to select all by holding Shift, and then pressing Shift D again, and adding that. So now we have 6 leaves, and then Shift D one more time, and rotate them around with R, and we can just rotate them individually if they're not lining up properly. And now we should have 9 leaves going all around the tree, like that. Now what we're going to do is press 1 and go into the side view, just click C for select, and then click on here on the origin points, so you select all of them. And now we're just going to go and put all the leaves on. So we're just going to press Shift D and then move it up. You can click Z if you want it to stay in the Z axis, and just move them up slightly, and then scale by pressing S, scale them down a bit, and then Shift D, G, Z to move it up on the G axis, scale it down a bit. G, Z, same thing, just keep doing it and scaling down every time. So now we have all the leaves on our trees. These top ones, we're going to try rotate them down a bit. Just click on them and then press R and just rotate them all down slightly. We just want the top of our tree to be nice and pointy. And that should do. Now, as you can see, this all looks very uniform and doesn't look very natural at all. So what we're going to do to fix this is select them all, press C, go over them all. And now we're going to go to Object, Transform, and then Randomize Transform. And then just click on this little arrow here. And we're going to go to R Rotation and put 20 degrees. And then we're going to go to these rotations and press -10 on each one. That's going to randomly put some of the leaves slightly more down. Make sure both are minus. And then we're going to go to the location and then change this to, I'll just slide it up. And this is going to randomly move them up and down just to make it look a bit more natural. You can just move them up and down until it looks good. And then now you can even add some random scale. So we'll just change this a little bit. That should be fine. If you check the scale even, it should just evenly scale them. And now you can just click through the seeds and find one that you like. I think the first one was actually the best, so we'll just go back there. So now we have all our leaves. And if we click on here, we can see that it's a bit sparse, so we may add a few more. To add a few more leaves, we'll just select all of them. And then we're just going to duplicate them by pressing Shift D and then GZ to move them up, and then we're just going to rotate them. So now we have a much fuller tree. If you see any leaves have sort of left the tree, you can just click on them individually, bring them back down by pressing GZ. And now we can see that this branch is not reaching to the top, so we'll just fix that by pressing Tab, going to Edit Mode, selecting this, press GZ to move it up to the top, and that should be fine. So we'll just add a sun lamp just to see our work. And we might switch over to cycles just to see it a bit better. And we'll just go to this little world thingy, make it a bit brighter. That's looking much better. And we'll just go back to the sun lamp, increase its strength a bit. If you've lost me a bit here, don't worry about this, this is not important. But if you do want to create a cool little render or something, then you can just do this. And our tree is still the wrong color, so what we'll do is we'll just go here to the materials, click base color, image, go to pine leaves, and now we can press Tab to go into edit mode, press A to select all, then go into the UV window here, press A, select all, S0, and then now just move this onto the brown, and it's going to make it the same color as the tree, as the rest of the leaves, so it'll fit in nicely. And there we have it, this is our tree. You can keep adding leaves you can do as many as you want to make it more dense, or as few as you want if you want to put it in a game or a mobile game or something where it's important that you don't have too many. We're currently using these exact trees in a mobile game and they seem to work just fine for performance. So if you want to use it for that, it would be perfect. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.